includes.
Nesse vídeo, você vai aprender.
Hello friend, welcome back. In this video, I want to start a new session. It's about the JavaScript object. So previously, I have also discussed about that things with you, how can working with this object. For now, in this session, I want to discuss about more about it. Now let's do that work. For doing this right now, I'm going to clean everything. And here right now, I name it as a JavaScript. Okay, JavaScript object. Okay, JavaScript object. So previously I have already discussed about that things with you, like I take some of the variable, with this let I name one of the variable name as a name, and for the name I pass one of the value. I pass one of the value as a right now as a Kazi. Okay, so that is one of the variable, and after that I take another variable. I take another variable for the age, and for the age I take another numeric type, and here I name it as a 40. Okay, like as a 40. Great. I take another variable with the let. I name that variable name as a hobby, and hobby I put some of the string value as a reading. Okay, reading. So they have actually one of the user, and this user related age, and this user related hobby, right? So that is one user details. So now if you want to make it into the one thing, then you can actually make it with the object. Okay, here only we have to do simply I take another variable as a constant variable. Okay, that is a constant variable, and into the constant variable area I name it as a user, because that is represent one of the user details. And after that, here I added one of the object. Okay friends, so all that object will be in our this curly bracket. So here I take with this let, we define that all variable, and here into the object area we will define everything with the property. Okay, so here I want to take another property as a name, and for the name I pass one of the value before as a Kazi, right? So that is a Kazi, and then I take another property as a age. So make that sure you understand it, and when you use that as a property, that will be as a clone. Okay, that will be as a clone, not that is equal to. So age, and age I name as a 40. Okay, that is a 40, and then the comma, and another property I name it as a hobby. Okay, hobby. There is a hobby property, and into this hobby property I pass on the string value as a reading. Okay, reading. Perfect. I hope friend you get some of the idea. That is when you define anything with the let, that will be as a variable, and into the object area that will be as a property. Okay, that is a property name. I pass one of the property value as a Kazi, age I pass one of the 40, and then hobby I will be as a reading, and that will be obviously one of the comma. Okay, here you have to add that as a comma. And now if you want to display it, okay, after that I want to display it. That means I want to in our console log, into the console log area I want to now display our this user data, the user all that object data. And now if you click as a save all, and now if you go click as a refresh, now you can see it's perfectly get all that our name. That means all that our age, that is our property name, property value, hobby, reading, and name as a Kazi, and you can see the prototype as the object prototype. And now if you want to get this specific property name, like here they have the multiple property, right? I want to get a specific this property name as a name rather than the age. So if you want to get it, they have the two rules. You can actually do that work with using the dot notation or rather than the break notation. Okay, I have already discussed about that things with you. Like then you have to do, like I want to get that our name property just value. So that will be as a console, and then the log, and into the console log area, then that will be the user, right? So this user, and then you can see it's also suggested all that our property name. So that is the dot notation. So with this dot notation you can also get it, like I take that as a name. So now our name should be as a printed. Now click as a save all, and now if you refresh it, now you can see it's now perfectly get that our name. And if you also want to get that hobby, that will be as a hobby. And now if you click as a save all, and now if you go click as a refresh, now you can see it's now display as a reading. So that is the dot notation. Okay, and also there is the another one as a break notation. You can also get that a specific property data by the break notation, but I show you. For doing this, that will be as a console, and then the console log, and then our user. Okay, user, and after that, that will be as a third bracket. And here you have to assign your property name. You can see it's also getting the property name as a age, hobby, and the name. If you now click as a select as a name, then with our break notation, you can also display this data. Now click as a save all, and now if you refresh it, now you can see it's now perfectly get this data, right, friend? And if you want to get that our age, you can also get it like here. I with the break notation, I make it as a age. Okay, that will be as a age. And now if you click as a save all, now go there, click as a refresh, now you can see it's now successfully get our this property specific data. Okay, friend, I hope it's very much clear to you. So friend, that will be very common things. Okay, in our project we'll use it a lot of the time, so make that sure you understand it. With this let, we define that variable, and when you actually added another object, and into this object that will be as a property. Okay, that is a property, and that is a property value, there is another property and property value. And if you want to get this data, that means property data, you can get it by the dot notation or rather than the bracket notation. Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, I have discussed about the JavaScript object, right? Now in this video, I want to discuss about the JavaScript manipulation, like as you name it as a menu. Okay, manipulation. Manipulation means if you want to add, like right now we don't need this, I remove it, and here I have already declared one of the object property as a name, age, and then hobby, right? But I want to make some of the boolean in here. I make it as a is married. And is married, that is only one of the boolean type. I hope friend, step by step everything going to very clear to you. So right now I make it as a true. Okay, that is one of the boolean type. Great. And right now also you don't need this. So as I told you, with the JavaScript manipulate means here I want to add one of the new property dot, and also I want to add some of the new property value data. If you want to update this property data, and also if you want to delete it, how can do that work in this video? I will show you that things with the live example. For doing this right now, like they have the three, right? If you click as a save all, and now if you go click as a refresh, now you can see it's now display as the age, is married, and then name. And now here I want to add another property. So you can add that property with two different way, with the dot notation and also the bracket notation. Like I show you here, I want to do, first of all I want to add. Okay, I make it as a add. And for the add I want to do, here we have to use that user, and this user related on another property. Okay, I want to declare another property as a as an email. I name it as an email, and this email here I want to pass on the value as a kazi@gmail.com. So that will be one of the another property I simply inserted in our user object area. Okay, here I added another property with the dot notation as the email, and that is our value, right? If you now click as a save all, and now if you go click as a refresh, now that should be another one. You can see now there is another one as email property, and that is our email property value. So here I have done it by the dot notation. If you want to make it with the bracket notation, you can also do it. That is user, right? And after that user, that will be as this third bracket, and then here I want to declare another new property as a phone. And then I want to display our phone string value for education purpose, that is our phone number. So that will be with the bracket notation, that is our dot notation, and that is our bracket notation. Now with this bracket notation, I added another one of the property as a phone, and this phone property related our string value. Now if you click as a save all, and now if you go click as a refresh, and now it should be another one. You can see now there is another one as a phone, and that is our phone string value. Okay friend, I hope it's very much clear to you. And now I want to update. Okay, if you want to update a specific some of the data, you can also update it. And better I put as a update. Okay, update. And now I want to update our as it is married, one of the boolean type as a true, right? That is a property. Now this property, that's value I want to update. So if you want to update, first of all you have to do with the dot notation. You can also do it with the user and then the is married, right? This property data I want to update. Here I want simply name it what of the data you want to add. Like I make it as a false. Before that was as a true. Right now I make it as a false. Okay, now that should be updated. Now if you click as a save all, before you can see before that was a true. Now if you refresh it, now that should be updated as a false. I hope you get some of the idea how can update your property data. So here we simply updated it. Okay, and also if you want to update that age, like I want to do, that is our user with this user, that is user age. If for this age I want to add another 10, okay, or another 5. I want to make it as a 45. So that will be as a user, and then user age, and here I want to add as a 5. Now that should be updated as a 45, right? Now if you click as a save all, and now if you go click as a refresh, now that should be as a 45. You can see age is updated as a 45. Okay. And also if you want to delete some of the property, like I want to delete a specific age, I want to delete that is married. If you want to delete it, you can also delete it. Then that will be very easy. I make it as a delete. Okay, delete. And then you first of all we have to start it with the delete method. So that will be as a delete. Okay, delete, and then delete our property object, our user object. From to the user object, I want to remove that age. Okay, for education purpose, I want to remove that age. So friend, that's all you have to do. First of all, you have to add the delete keyword, and then that will be as a user. That means our object name. So right now our object name, I take it with this user variable. Now that is our user, and this user object age property I want to delete. Okay, that means right now that should be not display. If you now click as a save all, and now if you go click as a refresh, and now that should be gone. You can see they have no property as a age. I hope friend it's very much clear to you. And here also I want to share another things with you, like some of the time I'm using that dot notation, some of the time I'm using that bracket notation. So what exactly that benefit between both of these? Then everything will be very clear. When you use that as a dot notation, that will be appropriate one of the variable. Okay, when you using appropriate one of the variable, then you can actually use that dot notation. But if you want to add that, they have some of the rules for the variable. Remember, you cannot add that one, or you cannot add any spaces or any hyphen, right? So when you actually pass some of the property name like this, then you cannot able to use it with the dot. You can see it's already getting some of the error, right? And better I show you here. I want to make it as clean, and like first of all I want to like there is our phone number. Okay, better I take another property. I want to add another property, and this property that will be just like that. Here that should be some of the spaces and also some of the name. Okay, and also you can pass some of the value. So I simply pass some of the value. Now if you click as a save all, now that should be added. That means now our new one of the property will be created with like this. If you now click as a refresh, now if you go, you can see our property is now successfully created. But if you want to create this type of one of the property with a dot notation, you are not able to create it. As you can see, it's already getting some of the error. Okay, I hope you get some of the idea. So here if you want to pass some of the property like this, then you can actually pass it, and also you can take it with another variable. If you don't want to pass direct on the property like that way, then only you have to do, you have to take one of the variable and name it as a key. Okay, and into this key area here I want to pass our this value. Okay, I want to simply pass this our property name. So that is our property. I take the things with this variable. Now we can pass this variable in here. Now that is look at it. Now if you click as a save all, okay, here make that sure you add that semicolon, and now if you click as a save all, and now if you go click as a refresh, and now that should be the same. You can see that is the same. I hope friend you get some of the idea when you should use that dot notation and when you should use that bracket notation. Okay, in our next video I want to discuss about that object methods and this keyword. How can working with this, I will show you that things with the live example. Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, I have discussed about the JavaScript manipulation, right? Now in this video, I want to discuss about another things as a object method and this keyword. That will be very important one of the part. Right now, I want to make it as a clean. Okay, I make it as a clean. Like that is our object. Into the object, that is our one user object. I take one of the property name as a name, property as a age, and also another property as a is married. That is one of the Boolean type. And better I want to add another one as a friends, and that here I want to take one of the array type. Okay, so I have already you know about it. That could declare the array type. I name it as a Kazi, and not that Kazi I have already take it. Better I name it as a Aryan. Okay, Aryan, and then the John. So this type of one of the two of this friend name, that is our array type, right? And also I take another as a null type. I hope you already remember that part. That is will be as a select color. So that will be one of the null type. I make it as a null. Okay friend, I take one of the object, and that is into the object area. I declare one of the property as a name. I name it as a Kazi, and then I take another one as a property age, and that is one of the string type, and that is the our in number type, and that is the boolean type, that is the array type, and that is also the null type. You can see that is also getting some of the error because of all that should be obviously into the object area. We have to use that as a comma, not that semicolon. And that is the null type. Great. So now I want to do in our this object area here, if you want to add another method, okay, that means into the object area, if you want to add another method, how can do that work in this video? I will show you with the live example. So now I want to discuss about that object, okay, object methods and this keyword. So friend, that will be very important because I want to do in our that is object, into this object area I want to declare one of the method. So if you want to declare one of the method, like I name one of the method name as a calculate age. Okay, so before what exactly I have done, like first of all we name it as a function keyword, right? That will be as a function keyword, and after that function keyword, whatever the name you want to add for your function name, that will be as a function name, and then we declare that things like that way, right? So that is, I have already discussed about that things with you. Later we will discuss about more about it. But into the object, okay, into the object, if you want to declare one of the method name, that will for the first time that will be our method name. Okay, and after that, that will be as a clone, and then the function, like then our function keyword. So that is our function keyword. Okay, and into this function keyword right now, if you want to show some of the things like as a console log, into this console log area, here I want to do, you can use that as single quote, or rather than you can also use that as a backtick. Okay, as I told you, that is a backtick. So I want to use that as a backtick. In here I want to pass one of the string value as a I am Kazi Aryan. Okay, I name it as I am Kazi Aryan. So this type of one of the name. Okay, now if you want to check it, like here I want to click as a save all. Okay, I click as a save all, and now I want to display our this method, right? So that is our this method function I want to display. So if you want to display it, then only you have to do that will be our user object, and into this user object area I created one of the method. Right now, first of all, we have to use that as a user object, and then our method name. You can here we have to load our method. Okay, so that is our calculate age. I simply loaded this method in here. Now that should be print our this result as a I am Kazi Aryan. If you now click as a save all, and now if you go click as a refresh, and now you can see it's now perfectly display as a I am Kazi Aryan, our string value. That means that is our string value. I hope friend it's very much clear to you. So just simply understand, if you want to add one of the method in your object area, then first of all you have to declare your method name, and then that is our function, and then that here whatever the things you will be do, you can do that things in our this curly bracket area. Okay, right now I simply display some of the message with the console log as I am Kazi Aryan. Now it's perfectly visible. Okay, and now if you want to access our another property, like here that is one of the age property, right? If you want to access this age property in our this string value area, then what exactly you have to do? So right now I'm using that backtick. So into this backtick area, I have already discussed about that things with you, like I name it as a I am 40 or 50. That means our age value I want to display. Okay, I want to display the age value. So if you want to display it, that will be as a dollar, right? So that is a dollar, and then here we have to declare our this property name as a age. Before I have already discussed about that things with you, right? So now that age should be displayed, but here it should be get some of the error. If you now click as a save all, now if you go click as a refresh, now you can see it's now showing as the age is not defined. Okay, age is not defined. Here it's not defined because of all, when you access any property name into this function area, into this object, then you have to access all that property with this keyword. Okay, here you have to only use that this. That means after that this, you can see it's also suggested all that our property name. So after that this keyword, you can able to access any of them property name. So now that should be displayed. If you now click as a save all, our this age property value as a 40, now that should be displayed as a 40. Click as a refresh. Yes, you can see it's now showing as a I am 40 Kazi Aryan. I hope friend it's very much clear to you how can working with this object method, and also why you should use that this keyword. Okay, so that is the pretty much basic things. I hope it's very much clear to you. Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, I have discussed about that object method, how can I add some of the method into the object area, and also the this keyword, right? Now in this video, I want to discuss about that traversing object entity. Better I name it as a traversing object. So that is the traversing object. I have already discussed about that things with you, like show you again. Right now I want to remove it, and also I want to make it as a clean. Okay, I want to make it as a clean. That is one of the name property, age property. I take another one as a gender. Okay, gender, and for the gender I name it as a male. Okay, male, and then you can use that phone number. I name it as a phone. A phone. I put some of the string value, that will be some of the string value, and then I want to take another one as a email. Okay, email I pass on the another string value as a kazi@gmail.com. Simply pass it. I hope friend you already know about it. So that is our object data, right? So that is all that our object data. So now here I want to find out our key. So before I have already traversing with the for in loop, remember? So with this for in loop we can get all that our key, that means this user object, all that key data. So if you want to get it, then that will be as a for, right? And there is the for area, then that will be as a let, and into this let I have already done, that will be as a key, right? Key in, that means the for in loop, and into this for in, that is our object name as a user, right? So now that is our user. Here I want to load it, that means in our console log, into the console log area I want to pass our this key. I simply pass it, and now if you pass that key, then what exactly that data should be do? It should be get all that our key, right? So that is all that our key. It should be get all that our key data. If you now click as a save all, and now if you go click as a refresh, now you can see it's now perfectly get all that our key. That means our all that property, okay, property data it should be get, because it should be needed when you actually run some of the projects. You may only get that your property key for the reasons that will be needed. And also if you want to get that our key and that value, you can also get it. Then what exactly you have to do? Simple work. Here you can get it by the bracket notation, that will be as a user, and then the bracket notation, right? And into this bracket notation area, here you have to pass your key. Simple. So now that should be also get that our name and then our value. If you now click as a save all, now go there, click as a refresh. Now you can see it's now perfectly get that name, and also it's perfectly get that all value. I hope friend it's very much clear to you, right? And that is one way. Okay, that is one way. No, I make it as one way. You can also do that work with multiple ways. I show you, like that is our one way. I want to take another one as a two way. Yes, that means the second way. Second way will be as a, I take one of the console log, that is a console log, and into this console log area, then here we have to add that as objects, that is objects. Okay, that is an object, and then our keys, that is one of the method as a keys method. So now with this keys method area, here I want to pass our object name as a user. So now if you run it, okay, now if you run it, click as a save all. Now if that will be displayed by the array. Now you can see it successfully get all that our name. You can see there is a array all the data. That means it's perfectly get all that our key. So that is all that our key, right? Name keys, age key, gender key, phone key, and then email. And now if you want to also get that value, because that is all that our key, and now if you want to get that all value, that is a name key value as a Kazi, age key value as a 40, if you want to get it, then you can do that work very easily. Then only you have to do that will be as a console, and then the console log, and after that will be one of the object. Okay, make it as object, and this object values, that is another method as a value. So friend, as I told you, is very easy all that process, but you have to understand and you have to also remember it, because that is the main basic core functionality of the JavaScript. If you understand my step-by-step all process, trust me, JavaScript will be very easy. When you will develop one of the project, everything will be more clear to you. Okay, now there is our another method as an object, and values one of the method. Okay, you can see when you put your cursor, that is one of the method. Okay, you can see that is one of the method. There is a method as a values. So into this values method area, here now we want to pass our user data. Okay, that will be as a user. Our object name as a user, because here our object name as a user. Now that should be also get that our all that value. If you now click as a save all, Now go there, click as a refresh. Now you can see it's now perfectly get all that our value. You can see there's our name Kazi, 40, mail, our phone number, and then email address. I hope friend it's very much clear to you. So here you can actually do that work with two different way with using that for in and rather than the keys method or the values method. And also you can traversing with another function I have already discussed about that things with you, that is a for of. Okay, with this for of you can also do that work, but I'll show you. Like I take as a for, okay, I take as a for, and then into this for area that will be the late, and I just name it as a val, okay, val, and into this area that will be the of. That is a for of, and for of our object value. Okay, that is a object, and then the value methods, that is a values. Okay, into this values method that will be as a user. I have already checked it, right? I have already checked that objects all that value, and you can see it's getting all that value. So you can also get it by the for of. There is a for and let val. I take that object values all the data, right? I have take it in here, and after that we have to in our curly bracket into this position. I want to display it. If you want to display, that will be as a console, and then log. I want to display our variable as a val. Okay, I take name it as a val. So now that should be also get that value data. If you now click as a save all, now refresh it again. Now you can see it's now perfectly get all that our value. Okay, so you can perfectly get that value. I hope friend you get some of the idea about the traversing in object, how can working with this that is the simple all that step by step process. Okay, here you can do that that things with like that way. That is our for in object key value and rather than for of. Great. Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, I have discussed about the traversing in object, right? How can working with this in two different way. I hope it's very much clear to you. So now I want to solve one of the exercise with using that for in, that is a values, that is keys, why you should use it. In this video, better with using this, I want to complete one of the exercise. Then that will be helpful to you. Right now I want to remove everything. Okay, here I want to do, I take one of the, that is exercise, I name it as a exercise. So I want to complete one of the exercise, then that will be very much helpful. Like there is a constant, I take one of the constant variable as a salary, and for the salaries I take some of the name. I name it as a Kazi. I name another one as a Jackma, and then I take another one as a John. Okay, I take another one as a Kazi, Aryan, and also I take another one as a Raju. Okay, Raju. Great. And for the Kazi here, I want to pass on the salary. That will be one of the number type. Here I want to use it as a 2000. Okay, 2000. For this I want to make it as a 3000. There is a salary 3000, and also for the John salary I make it as a 4000, and Aryan I make it as a 5000. Okay, 5000, and also for this I want to make it as a 6000. Okay, 6000. So sorry, that will be the 6000. Great. So now I want to add all that our value. Okay, here I want to add all the value. That means the Kazi salary, that is all that salary value I want to add. How can do that work? Now that will be very clear to you. Simple work. Like I take one of the variable, I name it as a sum. Okay, so for the first time initialize, I want to make it as a 0. Okay friend, and then what exactly I have done before, that is our for in. Remember with this for in what exactly I have done with the late, and late I name it as a key. I want to get all that our key first, so that is a key, and then the for in, right? And that is our object name as a salaries, and then I simply pass that salaries in here. So now if you want to get it, that means if you want to get that all that our key, then what exactly you have to do, that will be as a console and then log, and into this console log area here we have to pass that our key, right? When you pass that key, then it should be get our all that key, right? As a Kazi, Jackma, John, Aryan, it should be get all that our key. If you now click as a save all, and now if you refresh, you can see it's perfectly get all that our key. And if you want to get that value, because all that value I want to add in our sum area. Okay, here I want to actually add all the numbers. So if you want to get that value, then what exactly you have to do? Simple. We have to do that work with using our bracket notation. So that is our salaries. The salaries, and then the bracket notation. Into this bracket notation area, here I want to pass that our key. right? Here we have to pass that key. Then we have to also get it our all that value. If you now click as a save all, and now if you go click as a refresh, now you can see it's now perfectly get that all that our value. And now I want to add this value, right? I want to add this value in our sum area. Here if you want to get it, then I take one of the variable as a sum. Okay, I name it as a sum, and then our this sum here, that is actually our sum. This sum area I want to add. I want to add our which one? I want to add our these all that value. So that is our all that key. That means that is our key and that is our value, right? I have already checked it, and also I get that all that value. So our value is in here. I want to plus our value. That means sum 0, that will be plus our all that value. Okay, here now if you want to print it, like here I want to print it with the console, and then the console log. Okay, console log, I want to print our this sum. Okay, I want to print it. Now that should be add all that number. Click as a save all, and now if you go click as a refresh, now you can see it's now perfectly get all that our number as a 20,000. Okay, I hope friend it's very much clear to you. And you can also do that work with different way. Before I have already discussed about that things with you. Better I want to make it as a comment out. That means that will be same as a sum. Okay, here if you want to make it as a short key, that means that will be as a plus equal to, right? Plus equal to our value. Our value is the salary key. If you want to make it as a salary key right now here, that will be the same things. That means output will be same. That is a short form. You can also use it like that way. So now if you click as a save all, now that should be displayed the same value. Now click the refresh. Now you can see that is the same value. Okay friend, I hope it's very much clear to you. And also previously I have discussed about another method as a values. Remember, with these values we get all that our value, right? Better you can also, that is one way. You can also do that work with different way. Better I want to make it as a comment out. Okay, I make it as a comment out. That is the another way you can do that work. That will be the same. First of all, I want to get that all that our value. So if you want to get that value, that will be as a console log, and with this console log area, that is an object, right? That is an object, and then the values method, right? With this values method, I want to get that our values, our which values, salaries, all that values. That is our object values. I want to get it. So if you now check it, click as a save all. And now if you go click as a refresh, now you can see it's perfectly get all that our value. So now I want to add this value. I want to add this value in our this sum area. That means our this procedure will be just like that same. Here we want to add that things with for of, right? So I want to use it as a for, and then I take as a let, and then val, and then that will be as a for of, and for of our object, right? That will be as a object. That is an object, all that value. I have already checked it. That means all that our values in our which place, that is in our salaries, right? So that will be as a salaries. That is our salaries object. I simply get it. Perfect. And after that now I want to sum it. That means that will be a sum. Okay, that will be sum, and then plus equal. That will be a plus equal, and then our this will. So I simply take it. And now if you print that our console log, with the console log, if you want to print that our sum, our result will be just like that same. Okay, here I want to pass it or this sum. Now if you check it, now click as a save all, now go there, now refresh it, you can see our result is the same as a 20,000. Okay, you can also do that work in different ways. So that is our values method. We can with this values method, that is our for of, and then that is our for in. I hope friend now that is appropriate. Why you should need that key, why you should need that value. Okay, how can you use it with this simple exercise? I hope it's very much clear to you. Okay, hello friend, welcome back. In a previous video here I have done one of the exercise with the simple one of the things, right? I hope you like it very much. Now friend, in this video I want to discuss about that object destructuring. Okay, better I name it that will be as object destructuring. So why we need that object destructuring? But I show you with the live example, then that will be very easy to you. Right now I remove everything. I take one of the object as a user. Okay, I name it as a user, and for that user I name one of the name. That will be the name, and name will be one of the string type. String type I make it as a Kazi. Okay, Kazi, and then the age I name that age as a 40. Okay, right now I make it as a 40, and then also I take another one as a fab book. Okay, fab book. So this type of one of the name. And into this object area, I want to add another object. I hope you already remembered that part. I have already discussed about that things with you. If you want to add it, then that will be our another curly bracket. And into this curly bracket area, I want to declare another property. That means this book. Okay, book name, another object, and I name it as a thing. Okay, thing and grow rich. Okay, think and grow rich. And also I take another one as a author. Okay, book author. I name another property as a book author. So book author will be for now I name it as a XYZ. Okay, XYZ. So I simply added another object in our this object area. So that is our user object. Into this user object area, I take another property, and here that is our another object, right? So now if you want to access all the data, what exactly you have to do? I hope you already remembered that part. I have already discussed about that things with you before. Then better I want to do with this console log. Okay, with the console and then console log, I want to print some of the all that our data. That means better I copy it and here I paste it. Okay, like I want to print our specific this name. So if you want to print this property name, what exactly you have to do? First of all, we have to add that our property name, the object name, right? That is our user object, and then our property name as a name, right? That is a name. And also if you want to access that same for the age, that will be as a user object, and then that is our age. And also there is another one as a user object. I want to access our favorite book property, right? And now if you click as a save all, now if you go click as a refresh, now you can see it's now display as a Kazi 40, and then that is our object data. There is another one, so that is another one property name, and here I take another two of this object as a book name and then book author. So now if you want to get a specific this name, that means this book author name, then what exactly you have to do? Then we have to use it like that way. There is a fab book, and after that there is our property name as a book author or book name. So I name it as a book name, and also the console log. Okay, with the console log, that will be as a user first, that is a first object, and then our another property name as a phase, that is a favorite book, and into the favorite book I have take another property as a book author. Okay, so with this dot we have to use it, that is our dot notation. With this dot notation we can actually access our another property, right? Now if you click as a save all, and now if you go click as a refresh, now you can see it's now successfully get this data. But here if you have that multiple object in one object, then always you have to use that as a dot notation, and then you have to use that another property object in here, right? So that will be not appropriate. So for prevent this problem, we can prevent it with using that destructuring, object destructuring. Okay, here we have to declare all that our property with the variable name. I show you, then only you have to do simple. I want to use that as a constant. Okay, I take one of the constant variable, and here we have to pass it all that our variable name. Okay, we have to pass all that our variable name as a name, and then the comma at the age. Okay, age, and then the fab books. So there is a fab books. Here I declare all that our property name by the variable, and then I want to take all that variable in our user. Okay, so that is our user object variable. Okay friend, so that is now all that our variable. So now here we don't need to use as this user. Okay, here if you want to use it only that name by name, like I remove it, that is will be name, that will be as a age, that will be as a favorite. Okay, favorite book, here that will be as a favorite book author. So now if you access it, now click as a save all, and now if you go, now click as a refresh, you can see our result is the same. So that is the object destructuring. I hope friend you will get some of the idea why that destructuring is important and why you should use it, when you should use it. Okay, so that is the simple process. If you want to make this as a easy, only you have to do all that your property name, you have to declare it by the variable, and then you have to take it our object, that is our object name. Then we don't need to use that as a user object, and then access that data, that means property data, you can access it by this variable. So that's all. And also there is another one, like here there is another object. So if you also want to make it as a destructuring in here, then you can also do that work. Only you have to do, there is another object, right? There is a constant. I want to name it as a book name and then the book author. I take both of these. I hope you already understand what exactly you have to do. So that will be our fav books, right? So that is our fav books. Now here that is all that our variables. Now with this you can actually access this directly. Right now if you don't want to use it, it's totally fine. I remove it. Okay, now that is, you can see it's only simple one line. Now if you click as a save all, our result will be same. Now click as a refresh. Now you can see our result is the same result. I hope friend you get some of the idea how that object destructuring works. Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, I have discussed about that object destructuring, right? Now in this video, I want to discuss about another things as a cloning an object. Okay, I make it as a cloning an object. So what exactly that cloning that object? That means if you want to clone another object, that means total object data, then you can actually do that work with using the cloning object. Okay, so cloning object means if you want to clone any object data, that means any object data, if you want to clone it, then you can use it with the cloning. Better I show you the live example. Right now I clean it, and also I better make it as a clean. Okay, right now I just simply take one of the object, that is one of the name as a Kazi, and they have one of the age. Right now I want to clone this data. So if you want to clone this data, then I take one of the another variable with the constant variable. I name it as a copied. Okay, copied user. I name it as a copied user, and then I create another object. Okay, here I create another object, and now with this copied user, okay, with this copied user, I want to access that name. Okay, that is our name before property name as a name, and this name will be our user name. Okay, user property name as a name. I hope friend it's very clear. And also same as our age, that will be as a copied user. I name our property as a age, that will be our object, right? That will be our user age. Okay, now that should be a copied. If you want to check it, like I check it with the console log, there is a console and there is a console log, and with this console log I want to pass our this variable as a copied user. And now if you click as a save all, and now if you refresh it, you can see that is the same. That is actually totally copied. The name as a Kazi, and then age 40, and the name is successfully copied. Right here I print out this copied user, not that user. So it's successfully copied that our main user name and then age. Great. So if you have that multiple property, like if you have that 30 property or 40 property, then that is the manual one of the process, right? So if you don't want to use that manual process, you can actually do that work with using that for in loop. I will show you, then you can do that work. Like here I take as a for. I hope you already know that functionality. That will be the let and then key, right? And let key in our first user as a user. That is our object name, and into this for in here I want to do and load it. That is a console. There is a console log, and with this console log, if you want to get that all that key, then you will get all that key, right? All that key means you will get that name and then age. If you click as a save all, that will be refresh. You can see it's now perfectly get that as a name and then age. So that is our all that key. And if you want to get that value, then what exactly you have to do? We can use it with the bracket notation. There is a key, and then that will be as user, right? In the user area here, that is our bracket notation, our key, right? So now that should be also get that our value. Now if you click as a save all, now go there, click as a refresh. Now you can see it's now perfectly get that our value. And now I want to get our this value also. Okay, here if you want to get it, I take as a copied user. There is a copied the name is as a copied user, right? So there is a copied user, and this copied user key I want to take it. So that is our key, and this key area here I'm with this user. Into this user area I want to do with our bracket notation, I want to pass that key. Okay, now that should be also copied. If you now click as a save all, now refresh it, you can see it's also sounds copied. Okay, it's successfully copied. The result is the same. Okay, you can actually do that work with using the for in. You can also do that work with using the manual process. And also you can do that things with another way. Better I want to make it as a comment out. You can do that work with using another way as a assign method. Okay, object assign method. So I take one of the variable as a constant variable. I take one of the variable as a copied. Okay, I name the same name as a copied user. Okay, right now I make it everything is a comment out. So I take one of the variable as a copied user, and now into this copied user area with this object. Okay, with this object there is also another method as a assign method. Okay, so there is a assign method. So into this assign method area here we have to pass that our which one you want to copy. So here I will make it as one of the empty object, and then I want to pass our user. That means this user object data I want to copy. Okay, I simply pass it. So friend, that's all you have to do. So with this object assign, that is our empty area. Here it will be copy everything, and that will be saved in here. Now if you that is our, I have already console log, I pass that our this variable. Now that should be print in our number 20, right? Now let's check this out. Click as a save all. Now go there, click as a refresh. Now you can see in number index 20 is perfectly copied our age and the name. Okay friend, I hope it's very much clear to you. So I will suggest to use this one as the assign method if you want to copy some of the object. In our next video I want to discuss about that math object. Okay, how can working with this, I will show you that things with the live example. Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video I have discussed about that cloning an object, right? Now in this video I want to discuss about JavaScript, one of the building math objects. So that is a math, okay, math and then object. So what exactly that math object? So if you go to that Google and if you search with the JavaScript math object in W3, you will get lot of the resources as a W3.js and then JS math ASP. Now you can see that is a math object, and here there is a math object that if you want to get that pi value, you can, it will be return that pi value, and then they have some of the example, and also they have some of the building method as a number, as a math round, that is a math sale, math floor, math transaction. Okay, and also you can see there is a math round. So that is all that building method actually friends. So if you want to check it like here, so I will show you some of the example, then that will be easy. Like right now I remove everything. Okay, I remove everything, and here if you run, that means I want to do in our console, into the console log. Okay, console log, into this console log area, if you want to pass that a math, there is a math, and I want to pass, I want to get that a pi data. Okay, that is a pi data. And now if you save it, click as a save all. Now go to our project. You can see there is also, as I told you, there is a math pi. Okay, there is another function. Now if you click as a refresh, then it will be returning the pi value. Okay, you can see it's display the pi value. And also if you want to get that as a round, that is another function method as a console. Sorry, that is a console, and then the log, and into this console log, now I want to use that with the math. Okay, with the math I want to use another function, and that is the random. Okay, random function. Random function will be needed because if you want to some of the time that will be generated one of the random number. Okay, like if you click as a save all, now if you go click as a refresh, now you can see now that is actually generated this type of one of the random number. Every time if you refresh it, automatically that will be changed. Okay, every time that will be changed. So that is the random math object. And also another one I want to do get the console and then the log, and with this math. Okay, with this math I want to access another one. Like if you go, they have so many actually. You can see there is a round, also there is another one as a round. You can see there is a round method. So into the round method, if you get that as a 4.9, it will be get that as a 5. Okay, that means here that is a return x round, it's nearest the integer. So it will be calculated as a 4.6, then that will be displayed as a 5. When it will be as a 4.4, then that will be displayed as a 4. Okay, that is a round one of the value. So now you can also use it. Better I copy it. Okay, copy it, and now here and we want to add that as a round method, and with this round method I make it as a 4.9. So 4.9, that means that will be displayed as a 5, right? Now that will be displayed as a 5. Click as a save all. Now if you go, now refresh it, you can see it's now returning as a 5. And also there is another one as a sale. So sale is for the return x round up to its nearest integer, and another one is a floors, that will be return x round down its nearest integer. Okay friend, so they have so many maths. There is all that building maths. You can see there is also here there's some of the example also. So you can actually get that some of the references from here. And there is some of the building method. They have some of the building method as a math. So there is a math object. You have to remember it. Okay, just simply understand that another building JavaScript method as a math object. So in your project, it depends on your project volume, what type of project you are building. You can use all that building functionality. Okay, that is the math object. Hello friend, welcome back. In your previous video, I have discussed about that math object, right? Now in this video, I want to discuss about that JSON data format. Okay, that is a JSON data format. So JSON data format is used to when you actually pass any data from front end to the back end, that means from your client to the server or server to the client, then this data is passing by this JSON format. So JSON format data is just like as an object. Like I show you, everything will be more clear. Like there is a, I take one of the constant, okay, and there is a constant. So there is a constant, I take one of the variable as a user, okay, constant user, then our object. So into this object, when you pass that name property, and into this property area, if you pass that as a Kazi, and then I take another one property as a age, okay, for the age I take it as a 40, okay, I name it as a 40, great. So now if you print it, then I show you like print this user, that will be the console, okay, console, and then console log. Into this console log area, I want to print this user, okay, I print this user. So that will be just like that same, like you click the save all, and now if you go, right now we don't need this, I want to make it as a clean here, I want to make it in here, okay. Now if you click the refresh, now you can see it's now display like that way. Right, it's not displayed like that way, but when that will be returned by the JSON format only or into the property area, that will be one of the single quote. Okay, here that will be one of the single quote, and then that will be as a value. And into this value area, when it will be as a JSON format, into the JSON format, you cannot add any undefined value, and also you cannot add any function. So that is the only difference. Okay, friend, I show you like here. I want to create another JSON format data. If you want to create on the JSON format data, then only you have to do like here, okay, like here after this there is a console log I want to do. So I want to take another constructed variable. So I name it as a construct as a constant, and I take one of the variable name as a JSON data. Okay, I take one of the variable JSON data, and now I want to make our this object data to the JSON format data. Okay, so if you want to make it as a JSON format, then that will be as a JSON, and then stringify. Okay, here with this stringify method, here we can actually change it. So I want to change our user, right, user object data. So now this user object data I want to display, that will be as a JSON format data. Okay, here I simply pass, I take all that our user object data, I make it as a JSON format with using that stringify, and I take the things with this variable. Now in our console log, here I print this JSON data. Now if you click as a save all, and now if you go, so as I told you, object data will be like that, but when you click as a now refresh, now you can see that is our JSON data. Okay, that is some of the double quote. Into the double quote area, then that will be as a name, and then name as a Kazi value, and there is another property name as age, and then 40. So that is the JSON format data. Okay friend, lately we'll do a lot of work with the JSON format data. Just simply understand. So here that is our object data. This object data now I transfer to the JSON format data with the JSON stringify, and then I take it and I print it, right? Now that is our display. Now it's display our JSON data. Okay friend, and now if you want to change it, if you want to make it as a JSON data to the object data, then you can also do that work. Then you have to do like here, that will be as a console. Okay, console, there is a console, and then console log, and into this console log data now I want to again change it. So I want to change that our JSON data, so that will be as a JSON. Okay, here that will be as a JSON, and then we can actually change it. That means from to the JSON to the object, we can change it by the parse. Okay, that will be as a parse parse. There is a parse. So now with this we can actually change this data. I want to change our which data? I want to change our this JSON format data. Okay, I simply change it. Now that will be changed again our object. Now if you click as a save all, now if you go because a refresh, now you can see now that is a display as a again our object data. I hope friend it's very much clear to you. So if that is our object, if you want to change any object data to the JSON format, then you have to use that as a JSON and then a string file. And if you want to change that again JSON data to the object data, then you can do that work with using that JSON first. Remember this all that method friend. Literally everything will be needed. Okay. And also if you want to create some of the JSON format file, you can also create this file. Then only you have to do simply create like for education purpose I name it as a new .json. Okay, JSON. So that will be as a JSON file. That is our extension will be as a JSON extension. So you can see that is our JSON extension. And here you can actually add all that your object like as a JSON format name. Okay, that is a name and name value. Value will be as a Kazi. So that will be as a name. Okay, and then you can also use that as a age, only the double quote. Here you have to pass that your key, and then that will be as a 40. Okay, so now into the here I want to make it as a 40. So that is the JSON format data. You can also create it. Okay, here you can also create this type of JSON format data. So you can create this extension as a new JSON. Okay, all that your JSON API data will be in here. Literally we'll discuss more about it. I hope you get some of the idea what exactly that JSON format data. Okay, so now that is our object data, and then also another one is a JSON format data. Great. So friend, in our next video, I'm going to start a new session. It's about the JavaScript functions. So step by step, I will cover all the JavaScript functions with the live example.